everybody. Yes, dancing days are here again. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, all you beautiful souls. I meant what I wrote earlier. When powerful beings come together, you're powerful in yourself, but when we come together, magic happens. Miss Trina, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Wayne?
So good, so good, so good. That's all I can say. It's so
Me
good.
too.
So how's life?
It's good. It's been interesting. I'm watching the world go mad, and I think it is absolutely entertaining and kind of fun and kind of exciting. And it's like, oh, I think this is part of like I said, I was told since I was a small child that the masters are here now.
I
We
think
came
they
to
are.
play in this game, and it's getting really interesting now.
I was, told literally in that, folks, get a good seat. We got the front row seat, get your favorite libation.
Yeah.
And remember, you're watching a game.
You're watching yourself.
Yeah. And this reality that they're trying to invoke upon us, it can't happen if we don't participate.
Yes, because we are the energy and motion manifest on this plane of
Yeah.
existence. We
Yeah.
are that manifestation. It's us.
When I used to teach sales, one of the things I told these up and coming great executives, and many of them did, was that if there's a recession, don't participate. If you're depressed,
Mhm.
don't go in. It's like in the end, it's really what you manifest.
It is, and that's why it's so important for them to keep us in these fear codes, because that's how they get the collective to manifest their agenda. It's through fear and control. And we're like the total rebel cells in the body. And we're like, nope, I'm good at imagining unicorns and butterflies and rainbows. You know what? Most of the time I can make them show up. So
Yeah.
that is the power that we have with our imagination. You see people all the time, they're completely in their own bubble, in their own universe. We're all doing that. But the thing is when we come together and we collide in our minds and our hearts go into resonance, wow, we are a powerful bubble in that force. And the
Oh,
as above becomes the so below. And it's like, because it's so big in its energy, because you have souls and resonance in a common vibration. And that's what they use against us. So we need to learn how to flip the switch.
and something else that when we come together and whether it be large groups like this, hey Kaz, hey Steve, hello everybody, or even in smaller groups, it's not addition, it's not multiplication. What this is, it's exponential.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
it in an exponent. Yeah, I see like, 10th
It-
to the 10th power. I
exactly, that's
literally
exactly
see
what it
the
is.
exponential in the math when that happens. You're spot on with that,
Yeah.
Wayne.
Well,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you, thank
awesome.
you.
You see it too. I love it.
Yeah, it's there. It's this powerful being. I just want to say hello to everybody.
Yes,
I just
me
love this chat
too.
room.
Me too.
They
Family.
are just beautiful, beautiful people. Yes, thank you for passing the flower. Remember, we
Yeah,
need healing. So the summer of 2020, the summer of healing. I mean,
yeah. And like I
we're going
said,
to need it.
yeah, flowers. Think about the
Yeah.
scent, the beauty, the bees, the nature, the vibration. It's all connected, and bring that all into harmony and balance and peace and healing. And just like, the bees, been having a bee problem, and the bees are dying, and there's been a serious problem with these bees. Well, the beekeepers, they're so smart. They're bringing in shungite into the hives,
Mm,
and the bees are healing, and they're producing babies, and they're doing their honey thing happy, and they're not going crazy, and
excellent.
they're not dying. So the beekeepers are figuring out, to make the bees thrive, we have to give them a proper vibrational environment, because bees are about vibration.
Yeah.
So this 5G stuff is really freaking them out, and all of the chemicals and the air, these are all frequency that they're sensitive to. So for whatever reason, the shungite seems to be healing the bees.
I think it works. It's in my office. When I
It's
think of the flower, I
shungite.
always think of the lyrics of Cat Stevens when he says, "No one knows where the soul goes, but no soul no soul knows how a flower grows.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
amazing creatures, but we still
Mhm.
haven't figured out the very basics of nature itself. And people are just throwing the flowers up there. I love that.
Yeah.
Hello, Darlene. How are you doing, my dear? Good to see you. Wow, just a lot of groovy people in
Love
Islam.
you all
Yeah. Thank you, moderators. You
so much.
groovy people, you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, so we're in a time where they have pushed the panic button. It's really
Yeah.
interesting now. I as I monitor things that are out there, the the local press, at least where I live, they're figuring out, they were full pressed to the metal on hyping this thing last week.
Yeah.
And they're now, hello, Karen, Queen of Quartz. Good to see you,
Ah.
my dear. Um, now they're wanting to back it off,
Mhm.
but they found out the genie's out of the bottle.
It is. Yep.
And it's, I can tell you, my wife works in the healthcare industry,
Mhm.
and the things that are coming down, I just want to prepare everybody. We might
Mhm.
as well talk about this as a second look. So
Yeah.
one of the things that is going to happen here, because let me just put this metaphorically, they broke the toy with the market that's happened within the last 10 days. They broke the market. Now,
Mhm.
our market is robust, but it's not as robust as people think. It's interesting. I just got a notice from the Federal Reserve. I get their bulletins.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's coming out into the press now that it looks like every taxpayer, you have to be a taxpayer. You have to have filed a tax return. But if you have filed a tax return, you're about to get a check for $1,000. Each adult in the house will get a check for $1,000. Each child will add $500 to this. Then, and listen, they're really thinking about doing this. You would get literally a check from the government,
Mhm.
and this is for you to spend however you want. Now,
Uh-huh.
I think that's a great idea in one way,
Uh-huh.
but if there's nothing on the shelves to buy, what good
Mhm.
does it do?
That's what I mean. It's like, guys, you missed the mark on this one because the
Boy.
mark was in 2008 instead of the bank bailouts. If they would have taken that money that they provided for the banks for that bailout,
Yeah,
every single human being who pays taxes would have received a minimum of $100,000.
a minimum.
How do you
Actually,
think that would have stimulated our economy? People would have been able to pay off their homes, all their
oh,
debt. It would have completely transformed the world as we know it. But they chose to allocate those funds into a different means, which just is a continual
$16.1 trillion.
yeah, and it's just a system that's meant to implode upon itself. When you look at how the Federal Reserve operates with interest, interest, there is no creation of interest. So anytime you put interest on money, you're creating a deficit. That's why this system has imploded due to interest. So
Well, it's yeah, yeah, it's a
I don't think this
complicated
is going to
beast.
get fixed, Wade. I think this one's too far done. They're going to have to restructure something because I don't think they can get out of this hole. I mean, it's too big.
I hope that calmer minds will begin to take over. It's my
Yeah.
goal to inject a virus back into the collective consciousness of man, and that word is favor.
Mhm.
And we just need to. People, I'm seeing it everywhere, are just gripped with fear,
Yeah, because
and
they don't see any options. They don't know how
no,
a
they don't.
society could work any other different way. And it's like, there are people who have thought of brilliant ways to flip this economy back to a gold-based system. I mean, there are masters. Some of those
Never happened.
masters were the ones who came down and got into the heads of our founding fathers and created our Bill of Rights and Constitution, which are two of the most beautiful things ever written for humanity because it starts out we the people, the only document of leadership ever starting out we the people.
The Democrats want to take that out.
I know they do because they've already taken out the
They want to
Constitution, replaced
completely
it with a
suspend
corporate, right?
the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, they want to because it's a threat to their belief system
It's
because
like,
it
yikes.
doesn't go in alignment with them having ultimate control.
Yeah.
So yeah, screw
And well,
that. We
folks,
need to anchor hard to we the people.
nothing really matters. It can be bought. Listen, I'll tell everyone a little secret here. George Carlin, late comedian of the 70s and 80s, and even the 90s. George Carlin had the best advice for every human being.
Yeah, he
The
did.
way that you get out of this trap is that you have to put it into your mind, you don't give a shit.
Yep.
Now, that sounds cold and crass in one aspect, but it's not, because once you face it and say, all right, so you're telling me there's a virus. Well, there's thousands of viruses. I've got viruses all around me.
Mhm.
All right, next. And
Right.
you no longer become, the tentacles no longer get in you.
They can't because you don't have a frequency match.
Yeah, you won't be going out and buying, a year's
That's
worth of supply of toilet paper.
yeah, and that is your magic. That's truly your magic because what you think about, you bring about. So that is your magic, and it's operating all the time. So
Listen,
make sure
the universe is not running out of substance.
no or opportunity.
No, it's infinite.
Yes, it is. And that's it. They've kept us in these programs through media and religion and governments and all
Mhm.
these things to keep us in a certain frequency, a certain state of mind. And literally, we don't have to comply to that.
We and I won't. I mean,
Yeah, like you just don't have to.
like, I ain't playing, man. I'm taking my marbles and I'm going to go play with somebody else who, don't
Right.
cheat. They
Absolutely.
cheat,
Because
man. That's the problem. They cheat.
yes, they do. And the cheating is because they're using our power against us. And
They
we
are.
know. So
Yeah.
now that we know, we can control what we think, we can control what we see for our movie of the world that we want to see. And if the hardest thing is not get sucked into their story because their story is not really a good one. So I know that we have the power to change the story because we are literally making the story.
But you see,
Yeah.
this is where I think people get confused, Trina, is that
Mhm.
they're using magic.
Oh my God, yes, the
Folks,
biggest
this is
lie.
not just us talking
Oh,
about magic.
woo.
We're having to counter a magic that is, well, let me tell you, it's at a master's level or higher.
Yeah, and it's so guarded and hidden and you can't even see it with your physical eyes, just like the subliminals that are running through the commercials and stuff. Your eye can't catch it, but your subconscious is anchoring it. So
Hmm.
they're using some super, super smart technology. They're using thousands of years of fear. They're using so many
It's
things
magic, Trina. It's just, it's exactly the definition of magic.
highest level.
Yeah,
And it's
they,
dark because it's used to control and
it's control.
manipulate energy.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
It's they. We should learn from them, but this group here does. This is pretty advanced group, but
Yeah.
they have learned how to literally, folks, manifest out of nothing substance.
Absolutely.
The Federal Reserve has master, you can call them wizards, you can call them witches,
Mhm.
these are seers. And that's what they do.
Yep.
They actually are so tied into astrology. Um, I worked for the Federal Reserve, so I can speak a little bit about this. They actually go in and they monitor the sun.
Yes.
They monitor the sun for the levels of solar particles hitting the earth,
Yep.
because they know that this messes with this up here.
Yeah.
And
Information.
yeah, yeah. I
Can
mean,
jumble the brain or wake you up. It can do either one. And they want to keep it scrambling your brain.
well, what I found was that they're literally seeing into the future. They know how to manipulate this energy coming off of the sun. I know people, listen, most of you are going to say this is bullshit, but it's not.
Mm-mm.
They literally can make forecast based upon solar activity. And in years when we're in grand maximum, it's even more of an aspect, because if we're the solar flares, sunspots, those have effects as well. And when I found out about it, it was amazing.
I know. These
Yeah.
are master wizards.
Wow, they really are.
Oh, yeah, they are at the
Yeah,
highest
you
level. They
know,
understand the solar construct. They understand
they
the
do.
lunar construct.
The planets,
Yeah, they understand all of it. They understand how Jupiter affects the planet when it goes conjunct with Pluto. They know all of this.
they do. They
Yes, they
do.
do. I think, like I said, I have memories of Atlantean times, and this was a huge part of our science. And you understood the planetary bodies affected the Earth, and it was all one system, like a body. You would see it as a body,
Hmm.
and they could tell what was happening within the body according to the paths and the motion of the fixed rotations of these systems. And they knew all of this back then, and all of this knowledge has been so completely taken away because they don't want you to understand. If you understand what's happening, you can affect it. You can
You
deal with
can.
it, you can process it, and you can affect it. And this is what they've been doing for thousands of years. And now we're all catching on to this.
We
And
are.
woo,
I
doggy.
think that's why they're going to try to do a reset. I
Yes.
mean, when
Yes.
it's bad enough when you've got ones, tens, hundreds, maybe thousands, but when you
Hmm.
start approaching tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people
Hmm.
who go, oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah. And it's
Oh,
so
that
funny.
is a reshuffling of the deck.
Yeah. And it's like we've got our butts kicked over and over again.
Yeah,
So the Lord always told me, he says, remember, you came here to do something that was never done before. And that meant win. And that meant graduate. So I literally saw that we were here to take the earth to a new dimension, but we were going to do it together. And that had never been done before. And
I
that's a
can dig
pretty
that.
profound thing to think about. But that was kind of what my understanding was we were going to bring the whole, because the quantum potentials, there's so many. Oh man, there's a lot. So they were showing me that these are just platforms of thought. So you can jump into realities based upon platforms of thought. So literally, it's like from jumping from one platform to another, and the realities are changing all the time, and you're not even aware of it. It's like it happens within the blink of an eye. You don't even see it happening, kind of like the subliminal stuff that we can't see, but it's truly forming our reality and what happens in the body too. So it's like these unseen potentials, you lock into them through vibration. That's why it's all this vibration stuff, and that's about thought. So if we collectively come together and we see something like this virus thing, it's doing bad things. If we see somehow it's completely contained and it's no big deal, and you start seeing everything balanced out and you start seeing these things, if we come together and we all start thinking those same thoughts at the same time, we literally move into a new reality.
Yeah, when you were saying that, there's a book out there called Biocentrism. I recommended everyone get it in their library. In that basis,
Hmm.
there is a theory that says that when we go to sleep at night,
Hmm.
reality ceases.
I think so.
I mean, literally, folks, the chair I'm sitting in disappears.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you awake, you have to reorientate yourself back into this reality. And the proof of this is wake someone up in the middle of the night who's in a deep sleep. They won't know where they are.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
For them, they haven't constructed the reality back.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's what dying, I think that's what death is.
Yeah. You're just deconstructing a
You just,
construct, moving
exactly.
into another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, literally,
It's like,
you're going to wake
oh,
up in just a different reality and you're going to be like, whoa, but yeah.
I'm like David Barry. I'm building a house for myself. And the
Hmm.
interesting thing that I have found is that we perceive something that we can't imagine because none of us have been over there, or at least they say we can't. But it's real interesting because I'm convinced that we actually do create at least initially.
Yeah,
Now,
I think that's all we ever do is we're
I think
creators. Yeah, I think that's what that's all we do.
someone
Constant
who is a
thinking.
ghost hunter, they actually hunt ghosts,
Hmm.
wrote me and said that they heard us and they were convinced that many of the poltergeists
Hmm.
are those souls who did not graduate.
Yeah.
They're stuck.
And literally, it's thought in a loop.
They
So
are.
it's
They're
an
stuck.
imprint of thought in a loop, and it's trapped in its own thought loop. It's literally, I see it as a thought form trapped in a memory.
Well put. Well put. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I went, well, that would make sense. I mean, I guess that would be like being held back, the class, graduates and you failed.
Yeah, because you can't get out of your own way. And
Ooh.
most of these spirits, like when I tap into them, they're like still pissed off, like they want to prove they're right or they got a point to prove or something, it's their own stuff. They're stuck in their own stuff. They're mad because their sister got the money and all this stupid stuff, but it's literally holding them down to this grid because they can't let go of that stuff.
See, I told people yesterday, I said, you don't get the personality lobotomy.
No, you don't.
I mean,
You are
again,
spot on with that because these things are
like,
just like real people. And then when they heal, you get to see a higher aspect of the
mm,
soul come forth, and that's beautiful. So now I can see all of these dark entities and I see their potential too. I know their light is in there, but they might not be able to get a hold of it because they're in their own stuff. And some of them don't want to come out because we are pattern creatures. We operate in geometry, in patterns, vibration and resonance. We operate in patterns. So, like you and I were discussing about how everybody has different light.
mm-hmm.
It's based upon what you are and what you've done and what you've accomplished and how you think and how you vibrate. And all of these things, they produce vast, great amounts of light, or they make your aura dull and break it down and it's overcome with darkness. And that's based
Yeah.
on what you do. It's not, has nothing other than, because the world can trap you in its delusions, illusions, its pain, its crap, all that stuff. But it can only truly have that effect if you've truly not come into the knowing that you're eternal. You bypass all material worlds, all
I,
material worlds.
I'm at this point in my life now where I figured out some things and I have no desire to be wealthy. I've got no desire to be in power. I've got no desire. The only desire I have is making sure that we all get over to the other side.
Me too. Save as many as we can and wake as
Save.
many up. Yeah.
And speaking of that, Miss Trina, I thought that this would be a good way to introduce something that I'm going to be doing starting tomorrow, and I hope people join me. So, this is what we're talking about: thoughts manifest reality, right?
Most important thing we could ever understand.
I think
Yes.
they got this, and it's a law.
Yep.
Yeah, I have found it to be a law.
I have too. Yes.
I think today we're going to break some spells, and folks, if you'll get a hold of this, this will set you off like a rocket. Why God cannot forgive sin. This is one of the things that no matter how many people I talk to who still come out of even in a non-religious upbringing, still feel that they're somehow not worthy. And we define this as the word sin. But figure this one out, Trina. God never created it. Man did. God
Yes.
can't forgive sin.
Mhm.
There's nothing there that God, and I talk about God not as a personification, but as that frequency, that vibration
It
that's
just
above
goes back
everything.
to the simplest of teachings too. There can be no one to forgive you for your own thoughts. It's
Thank
what
you.
you think about it is going to affect you as a being. Nobody can give you that. That is something you have to forgive yourself. That's why they say forgiveness is the key, because boy, if you don't learn how to forgive yourself, you can't forgive others. And if you're casting and sitting in judgment, you're going to realize how stupid you are when that comes down, because it's just going to lock you into your own cage.
It will prevent you from graduating.
Absolutely.
You won't
Absolutely. I
pass the
think so.
grade. You won't.
Yeah, you'll get to an upper level, but you won't get where you want to go because your judgments will be holding you back because we are everything and nothing at the same time. And we need to understand that. And in the fullness of creation, all is going to be expressed in full polarity. And we need to learn how to become neutral with that.
The sin consciousness will also deplete your aura.
Big time.
It literally will.
Yeah. I
It can
literally see
drain
it
you.
like breaking down the aura and taking the colors and turning them gray. It sucks the sparkly out of it or something. I don't know how to explain it, but it literally, you can see a thought change an aura instantly.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So we're going to get into a book, and I'll give you the title. I just want to read this real quick. Christ boldly taught that ignorance is the cause of all sin. He saw that in order to practice forgiveness or the science of forgiving, man must be enlightened to the fact that man has the power to forgive all sin, discord, and inharmony. That it is not God who forgives sins, for God has nothing to do with the sin,
Mhm.
sickness, and inharmony of man. That man himself brought these into being, and man is the only one who can erase or forgive them. He saw that man must learn that ignorance is disregarded and lack of understanding both of the divine mind and the creative principle and of his relationship to that principle.
Yep. Bingo. That is absolutely perfect in my understanding of how it works.
I love this. And by
It's
the way, folks,
beautiful.
starting tomorrow, I'm going to interrupt what I was going to be doing, but we're going to get into the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East.
Guys, hold on. This is some awesome information. Oh, I'm so glad, Wayne, you're reading this. Oh, I love the master teachings. I love them.
Um, it's life changing,
It really is.
you
I was
know.
reading that when I was going to Patmos in Greece, and wow, talk about the downloads, having that information in my
So how
hands.
was that? Tell
It
us,
was
how
off
did it
the
impact
hook,
you?
off the hook. I had
It
so
did.
many crazy spiritual things happen to me when I went on that trip.
I
Yeah, I
bet you
mean,
did.
literally, it was
Yeah.
overload. It was overwhelming. I literally, that's how I connected to the lifetime I had with, I think, this being the Lord dude that walked around that was healing people and stuff. And they killed him over taxes and sovereignty. It was like the whole story is not even right. Like I said, I don't think his name was Jesus, but I was in a lifetime with a master who
Mm-hmm.
was walking amongst the people, teaching them the master teachings of the Far East stuff,
Mm-hmm.
what he taught. This is what he did. And so, oh, we were hiding in the fear. Oh my God, there was so much fear. It was like palatable. And then when I went to Patmos, as soon as I got off the boat, I literally had to run and put my feet in the water in the ocean. And as soon as I took off my sandals and I went into the water, I started downloading all this information and about and they had a monastery there that the original book of John is in, and it's like in Aramaic and it's hand painted and it's like, oh, it's so beautiful. And they had all the silverware they said that Jesus and John were eating out of. And I'm in this monastery, and then all of a sudden this music comes on. It's like Gregorian chant. It's like la, and I get covered with the goosebumps all over my body, one of those weird download moments. And I could feel the frequency of these beings in this place. And I could literally connect to the priests and I could connect to John. And boy, he was in a bad state when he was at Patmos. Let me tell you, it was not good. It was not good at all. I think he was borderline losing his mind. So, because I think that's how he got those
So
downloads.
how did the book affect you?
The
That
book
yeah,
affected me so bad, like, I got the
I mean
chills
the
all over my
teachings of the
body.
masters of the Far East.
It was profound because this is exactly what they were doing, and this is exactly why they all died, and this is exactly why they killed them, and it was so about teaching these divine feminine principles, equality of masculine, feminine energy, kundalini, all of these high level Tibetan, Eastern, basically dragon serpent wisdom
Interesting.
was what they were teaching, and they were getting killed over it. And they were trying to preserve it and hide it. And there was just a lot of fear and going back into that lifetime. And then I got crowned on the boat, and that downloaded me with like a Celtic lifetime where I became a princess and I got sold to a king. And it was horrible.
Interesting.
So yeah, it was a crazy trip. Going to those different places activated me deeply.
That's interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Crazy profound.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one is.
Then there was more. I mean, it was off the hook, Wayne. It was seriously off the hook. I
Wow.
went to Delphi too, where the Oracle was.
Mhm.
Oh, that was a whole nother trip. That's where I realized we were reptilians.
They know I'm still for me, the jury's still out on that one.
Yeah, well, it's like there's
Yeah.
parts of our body that are
Yeah,
reptilian
now
based.
that I do believe. Yeah.
Yeah, the glands, and specifically
Yeah.
it's the glands that secrete the chemicals. This is what they taught me. They're like, you are reptilian. I was like, what? What? Yeah, and it was about the serpent energy and how it's connected to the endocrine system.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is part of how we get our gnosis and stuff, because that's how it activates the kundalini energies inside of our body and ignites the pineal gland. So yeah, these are all very connected to how we process higher wisdom. It is definitely from that reptilian part of us. And
Well,
that makes sense with all the dragon and the serpent worship for eons of time.
yeah, I agree. There's a whole subject on that one. Folks, by the way, if you want this, I have this in PDF. There are 5 chapters to this. I'm only going to give out the first chapter, but I think you're going to find this interesting. The reason why I find it to be so compelling is that there is a total misconception of what Christ means and who Christ is.
Yep.
In the Eastern beliefs, Christ is a consciousness,
Yep.
not a physical person.
Yep.
Now they can manifest into sometimes into what the writings that, they'll literally take on a personification. But I think we're going to find that this is a book that you're going to find out just how Americanized we are in our realities. And I use the word Americanized because Americanized is a religion. It
Yes.
is a form of mind control that now permeates the entire globe.
That's
It,
absolutely right. Yeah. And that Eastern theology is
it,
so
it's
different. Yeah.
it's the antithesis
Yeah.
of the Americanism of the world.
It's like patriarch and matriarch.
Yeah.
It's total
Yeah.
opposites. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Complete opposites. Yeah.
I hope that you'll join me on this, folks. It will counter all this negative hype and this fear. And this, we were talking it when we first came on. This fear, folks, if it gets out of control, and I don't know what 5G does or doesn't do, it doesn't look like our minds were meant for that type of radiation. But I don't see any stopping it. I'm trying to figure out where I could move Lynn and I that where you don't get 5G.
I know it'll be
I
impossible.
don't know. I mean, it seems to be a trap.
But I think, Wayne, we are gonna. I think that we are gonna see this go away, and it's gonna be done with Mother Earth is gonna do it. She's doing that. That's what I saw. She's gonna take it all down.
I think the Crystal Network, and I agree, I'm seeing the chat room go by that, folks, I hope the link is provided, become actively involved in the Crystal Network because we're going to the way I look at it, this 5G, 4G, all of this is all crystalline based to begin with.
Yes.
The only way that you can combat something is to be of equal force or greater, right?
Yes.
That's the laws of inertia.
Yes.
It's the principal teaching of the art of war.
Yes.
Yeah. So by joining together in these communities where, what I love about this group, we don't talk about other people. We don't bring up what I call the hen house gossip. We try to get down to the fundamentals. What does it take to protect us?
raise the frequency of the planet to 6G
6G.
organically.
Yeah, well, that I don't know if that can be done. I mean,
I don't know. I had a child prophet one time when she was a little kid. She grabbed a Bible and she started reading out of it. And she told me in 2012 that the Rainbow Warriors would be the ones that would activate the sixth power of man. And we would do it on the earth, with the earth, in resonance with her cooperatively, and that would shift the complete frequency of the entire planet. And we would be moving it into the sixth power. So I hope she's
yeah,
right.
I am open-minded. Anything that provides a solution.
It was weird. This was coming from like a 9-year-old kid. How would they even know about raising the frequency on the planet to a collective consciousness level of the sixth power
Yeah.
collectively? What kind of kid talks like
What did
that?
she go on to do? Was it just a once thing, or did this
Yeah, it
child?
was. I was seeing a family member, and she was with a family member, and she just literally. I was talking to their parent, and they walked over because they brought them, and they were just sitting on the couch, and they literally walked over to my table and grabbed this picture Bible. That was my kids, and literally opened it up and just started prophesizing. If you wanted to, I could read you some of it. It's pretty crazy.
How
And
old
it
is it?
talked about what's happening now, because she said that the plan to destroy us was that they were going to do the Hunger Games. And she said that there would be 5 channels, five masters, 5 people that would figure out the game, and they would navigate through the game to where we would win the game. And instead of being trapped into the construct, that we would find a way to open the doors, and we would create a rainbow bridge. And then eventually enough of us would do it to where all the doors would open inside every single human being through the collective.
How do we do that? I mean, is it by thought? Is it by
Yes, it was by thought, and it was also by by this energy that was going to come to the planet, which we're seeing. That, remember, you said you saw that sheet of energy light that's coming to the planet.
it did it? Well, it's science, and we actually measured it.
That's what I mean. So it
Yeah.
was these events, was what I was shown, that
Hmm.
these energetic events literally would start to change things. And certain people like us, the ones that are seeking and trying to raise the vibration and trying to help and put positive information into the construct, that we would be the ones that would take on the new coat of many colors, which is the new colors of the aura, Wayne, what you're talking about.
Hmm.
It would start to shine different because of how you think and how you operate. And eventually it would be like enough people would do this, and it would open the doors in all humans through this collective 100 monkey thing, which is just about percentages. So
Hmm.
once you hit a certain percentage, it activates collectively.
I
So
can.
it was amazing that she was talking about this when she really had no comprehension of any of this.
Was this recent or
It was in 2012, and she was like 9 years
2012?
old, 8 years old.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
And they weren't church people. They didn't go to church.
Interesting.
Yeah, so she really had no way to be, and to literally open up the Bible, and a picture Bible, and know right where to go. And she's like, "Oh, look at this here, the story of Jonah." She's just like going off, and we were just sitting there going,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have some conflict in that I don't particularly believe the Bible, but
"Oh, I don't either." It was not
yeah.
about the Bible itself. It was about the Bible was a map.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the way she was saying it was not like normal stuff, Wayne. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. She was like, it's a map, and it's like the Hunger Games. You need to understand to find the Hunger Games in the Bible, because that's the map. That's how you get free.
I know
It's
this is going to sound
really interesting.
strange. I never watched the Hunger Games. I have absolutely
I
nothing to.
haven't either. I
I don't
need
know
to.
what that means. I mean, I'm sitting here. I
I think
don't.
we need to, Wayne, because this child literally said that the people that would solve the world puzzle would understand the Hunger Games. And in that thing, she said the 5 channels need to read the Hunger Games books, and they need to read them together as a group. I wonder if we're supposed to read these books.
Does anyone in the chat room know what the Hunger Games are about? I mean, seriously, I never
I
watched.
only know is about one little part of it. It's that they were rounding up people, and they made them fight for food, and like certain people would have to go play Hunger Games, and they would all die. And the only one that survived, because they didn't kill each other, like they won by killing the other people, they would win the Hunger Games, and then they wouldn't starve to death or die. But they literally made these children compete against each other to the death
Okay.
for entertainment.
Okay. That sounds like the gladiator games. I
Yeah,
mean, from a
yeah,
Coliseum.
they're using kids, and it was about starving people, and the societies were like the uber elites, and then everybody else was super poor. There was no middle class. It's very like, it looks like what's going on. There was all the monitoring of everything, and yeah.
Well, a
So
lot of
but I
people
haven't seen
are
it, and
agreeing with
apparently,
that. I know it's on Netflix. I've
oh,
never,
is it?
now
Okay,
apparently it is.
okay.
And I'm just reading here. They chose people from districts to kill each other for fame.
I don't know, something, it was Twitter. I've only
Hmm.
seen little parts of it because my kids watched it years ago, but I never
Yeah.
seen, never really watched it. So I think I probably need to.
A lot of people are saying it made. Okay. Well, this is interesting. This is how we learn. I mean,
Yeah. Like I
I
said,
just
I don't know why this was dropped in my lap, but when this happened, let me tell you, everybody was like going, "What is going on right now?" And we knew we needed to pay attention. And I was just writing it as fast as I could, you know.
10 districts. That's very interesting. There's a lot of
Yeah, we thought,
metaphorical correlation to Book of Revelations, it sounds like.
yeah.
The
That's what I'm
10-headed
telling you. It's something
beast,
to
you
this.
know. They said they watched it. It's better in the book. Well, the book always usually is better.
The child said to read the book, not
Yeah,
watch the movies. Literally
yeah.
said you need to read the
Yeah.
5 books and you need to read them together. So, this is kind of a forum where we're doing that. Maybe this is the forum that information is supposed to come out on. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the child, now you have her writings, right? Do what she actually said. Let's
Yeah.
let's hear it. I mean, do you have it
Oh,
near you?
well, okay. Like I said, it's very, very different. This was from 2012 from like an 8-year-old, and
I
it
mean,
was
is it a lot of pages?
not too many.
Okay.
And it goes kind of quick,
Okay,
but
I'm all for it. I mean, this is how, who knows what could happen. I mean,
okay,
words are
like I
frequency.
said, I wrote it as fast as I could transcribe, so I wished I had shorthand going because she
They
was
don't teach
moving quick.
shorthand anymore, apparently.
Right, and she was moving fast. So this is where I got from where
Okay.
it all started, the people in Jesus. And she told me that the people in Jesus were the people of the rainbow warrior light. They were the rainbow coat people. That was the people of Jesus. It wasn't a dude, it was a way of being.
Like
So, like I
Joseph and
said,
his multicolor.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I said, everything's not like it was taught to us. It was her perspective, which was very different than the biblical, which was very interesting to me.
Okay.
So the people, they would be in Jesus and the land of the earth. The people would not be able to fit through the passageway. There are many passageways, but we have only opened one. One will not fit all the people. Only the rats can fit through the one. The rats have to figure it out. And she told me the rats are the stars. She said, so look at the rats as the stars. They're backwards. I was like, whoa, okay. So she said, figure out the passageway to fit through and open the doors. The rats are the key to open up the passageway. When they get through that, they will open up all the other passageways leading to God. The whole door then opens up like a bridge. Then the rat's door will slam shut and all the doors open up inside every human like the rainbow bridge. So everyone in thee will run into the light. Look at the pictures in the Bible, the children's Bible. Look at the pictures and make the map. You will find the puzzle or the maze that can also be described as Satan's death pattern. Whoa. Or control by the maze. That's why we have comic books and superheroes. They have you believe in God or superheroes that they will come and save you. God can protect you no matter what. But it is true. The superheroes are real, but they are activated by the light of God, the light of God that lives within you. Then the maze will be drawn out like a map. It will be drawn by 5. The 5 channels will need to draw the maze and find the way out of the maze. They need to figure out the way out of the O hole. Figure it out by the way you think through the systems. You think through the light. The light is information. We are the rainbows. We are the rainbows of Jesus because we are the light. B is the Bible and D is the colors of the rays, the 7 colors of thee. Through the love connections and despair, the demolition or the demolition or the devolition or the devolution derby, the crash, the death, the injuries, the reckoning, it all goes together. This is coming from a 9-year-old. through the channels, the maze, the five, they go through the maze. Through the Bible and through the pictures, they draw it out. They remember the guy with the fish, Jonah. Jesus teaches us to fish, teach the miracles. People have to draw the magic, the maze, and figure it out. They need to figure it out, which way in life to earn the wealth and equal energy, flow and balance, life, eternity, love, caringness, and the hope. It can always be and will always be there. It doesn't even matter. Even suicide, anything can be anything. It can be channeled through the body. Suicide feels better if you go, but suicide is not, it's not true. Suicides are the channels who get lost. They don't know how to use their power. They may be the ones who can cipher the map. We need the channels. They will see the map. The five divine, they need to go through the Bible, look at the pictures to figure out the map, to look at the pictures of Jonah mostly, because it will start the creation of the map. And then John is the beginning. Then we will dive really hard through the path with the loops and the holes, and then we will have to dive through the dead end, dive through the black hole. 3 days of darkness, we will have to dive through the dead end, and one dead end is going to go through. Then they will explain God and God's power, and God's the power in the world, and the world is going to be happiness, and spirits in heaven and earth will be equilateral to the level of the sixth energy, power and worthiness. Whoa, right? Then we will be at the power of love. Everyone will be an artist, no matter how they think, no matter how they do anything, they'll be able to do it now. They'll be able to draw with the light coming out of them, the power of the central power of the energy of the circumstances. There will be no more government. All the books will need to be read by the five channels. They must read the Hunger Games. They should read it together. After that, we can finish the map, the divine plan. This is the ending, the divine ending. It's going to end through the Mockingjay. We will need to prevent this. The world will never have such death as it does if you let the Hunger Games happen. The map will be called the Divine of Central Well-Being, which will have the creativity to show the light of the whole body. It is the sign of the ending and the sign of the beginning. So there will be two passageways to the end. Yes, two paths, and you must choose. Both paths will eventually return back to God. All paths eventually always go back to God. The circle is God. God is the being in the well of the energy. In the beginning is the end, and in the end is the beginning. We will go through the 3 days of darkness and have new light at the end. And the new light will be purple, and it will transform, and it will heal everything it touches. All the bad people will go away, and all the food will be made healthy again. No more McDonald's or poisoned food. Herbs and food will be all healthy again. Then one day the angels will come down, and they will bring peace, and they will give kisses to the earth, and they will kiss the ground. No more police. The earth will be with molten and lava, and this will be after the 3 days of darkness. Then all things started to change, and all things got better. All the colors of the aura changed, and they all started to wear the colors of the rainbow, all the colors of Jesus, because Jesus is the rainbow, the aura, or the arc. It goes from the white to the red, all the way to the purple. And the colors are the rays, and the rays are the points, and the points are what we need to light our light and be able to heal. And then it talked about us wearing different colors of the rainbow, and our colors are coats, like Joseph in his coat of many colors. And the vibrations start to change. The kings are wearing the white, and they have a yellow or an orange sash around their waist to represent the fire that shines through them, because love is now the new energy. It's love. And then she points to a door again in the Bible, and it was death, and it was disgustingness, and it was dark, and it had no light. Jesus is yellow, and he is orange, and in that he is joy, happiness, and he will never change. So orange and yellow make red or amber. Connect the yellow and the orange in your body and make the sun. Connect the fire to love for balance. And that was the end.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I can see for a
Right.
9-year-old how she perceived the world. And I love the metaphors to McDonald's. That was cute.
Right? I was like, what? She's talking about poisonous food? Wow.
Yeah, and it really is. It's terrible. So
Yeah.
I'm just reading some of the comments. Marguerite was taken about it. So someone had said, what book are you reading from?
It was a prophecy from a child. She just randomly stood up and started giving forth this information. And she
About 8 years ago, right?
in 2012.
Yeah,
Yep.
8 years ago. So
Yep.
yeah, that's very interesting. And we're finding that in the hierarchy, if your aura is of an orange nature, it's much more mature
Yeah.
spirit.
I told you, Wayne, I think that's the color of favor. I was like,
It
dude,
may
you can
very
get
well
a
be,
high roll with that
you
favor
know,
stuff.
you know, um, that's very interesting. And she
Yeah,
didn't have a
yeah,
religious.
blew my mind, Wayne. I was so not ready for that. And I was just like, write it down as fast as you can. Pay attention. Pay attention. I was like, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sitting on it
Um,
for years, still trying to process all of what it means, because I know it means so much more than I can grasp in my mind at this moment. And I probably need to check out the Hunger Games.
yeah, I mean, that's now her parents were not religious. They weren't of one particular
No,
Catholicism or anything like
no.
that, huh? That's
Mm-mm.
interesting.
They were a
Um,
construction worker and a nurse, and they just really weren't churchgoers. So,
Interesting. Someone
yeah.
is saying I have a Carillion photo of my aura. I think that's cool. I mean,
Mhm.
when I'm out in the astral realm, I can tell people many times by, their auras. It
Mhm.
really is, it's the best lie detector there is.
It is. And you know what, though, Wayne? I can change my aura because I've seen I can change it, and
We all
it
can, yeah.
changes on my thought.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I
Yeah.
can come in with real big purple energy around me. And then my other dominant color is orange.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fact. We know that you can change the energy of a room from going from one of a non-agitated state to where someone walks in and starts an argument, and the argument begins to build. That's how quickly what people are not seeing
Yeah.
is literally in their own reality, the energy is changing colors. It's
Yeah.
impacting you, and
And it's going back and forth.
mm,
It's like a push and a pull. It's like there's a stealing of energy. It's trying to dominate each other's energy is in actuality what's going on.
just had this brilliant freaking idea.
What?
So we're advancing so quickly on the technology. I say we're within 10 years when we will actually be able to see the spirit realm. And imagine if you had a detector in every room
Mhm.
that you could immediately detect when a person is starting to dive into this negative. And this is where you get murders. This is where you get rapes. This is where you get abuses. And people are not seeing the color change. Now, imagine if you could physically see this and make a warning.
Yep.
Just an idea, folks. This is
Yeah,
the,
it's a beautiful thing because I mean, we
yeah,
get it in our gut. Like we know something's about bad's going to happen. We know, we can feel it. We get that warning.
it's
So
like
there's
a
got to
dog or
be
a
a
child
way.
saying, that's a bad man,
Right, and they
bad
know. So
woman,
there is a way that we're already sending off the signal in our body. We just don't know how to visibly see it, but it's going off. So there must be some powerful, there is something going on there, Wayne, for
We
sure.
just have there's this incident down in Colorado Springs where a stepmother killed 11-year-old stepson, and they don't know where she put the body. She's been arrested. She tried to leave the state. But my point to all this is, I'm telling you, I'm onto something here, that if you
Mhm,
could actually see the freaking aura of a person, you would know what's actually possessing that vessel,
mhm. Yeah,
wouldn't you?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
You can see darkness, you can see hate,
You
you can
can,
see
and when we can feel it,
yeah, you can feel it and
if we
see.
can feel it, we can see it.
Yes, it's got a signature. Yep. This is like I said, it's all about
Mm,
frequency
mm, mm,
identification,
mm, mm.
frequency lock. And we do have some type of an awareness for these different frequencies.
Wow.
They
You
do
see,
have.
folks, this is where $1 million ideas come from. Seriously.
That's what we have to question everything. We have to dive in deep figure out what's going on.
There's no reason for us not to. I mean, and I'm sure there may be more, I always think of DARPA, but this is the type of stuff we're talking about. From our conversation today, think about this. We just came up with a way that, I mean, that's a breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit. I mean, excuse the language, but remember, SHIT means to store high in transit. True story, how the word came about. It's a maritime term. And back in the day when the British Kingdom, the hierarchy, they were importing from all over the world, particularly from the Caribbean, that when they stored tobacco leaves, papaya, etc., they would simply store them down on the base of the floor of the ship. And through the journey, all those ships did leak. And so by the time they docked in London, all the food smelt like shit. And so the decree came from one of the British shipping companies that you were to store high in transit.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, so there you go, folks.
Yeah. Store high in transit.
It makes perfect sense.
Stuck in your shit.
Exactly. Now you get it. And it's you just got to just say, okay, no, that just makes perfect sense.
Yes, absolutely. It's so funny too. Oh shit, that's when something goes wrong. And
Yeah.
that's probably what they were like. Oh shit, we didn't store high in transit.
We didn't store it. And
so
could
now
you
it's
imagine?
all ruined. And now we're not going to get paid for this load. Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the smell. I
Oh,
mean, they didn't have refrigeration, baby.
no. Oh.
I love this, but what a conversation today. Well, that child obviously was, and I get it. When children are used in channeling in prophetic messages, what they're seeing, we have to understand they're taking the basis of what their perceptions are seeing. Now, as an adults, we should have the ability to step back and say, okay, she gave enough information in that was very clear. The key to it's like any puzzle.
Yes. And it's
that's
all based on how you think, because how
exactly.
you think produces your colors.
I think when we get into the spirit realm, many people fail because I really do believe that there are puzzles to be solved.
Oh yeah.
Because everything on this
puzzles.
earth is a code.
Yeah, I think we love puzzles. I think we're the
Yeah.
ultimate puzzle makers.
We are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And that's what it was like. It's like it's a maze. You need to see the Bible as a maze. So I was like, that's interesting. I'd never heard of that before. Look at it as a maze.
Yeah. Oh, this is freaking fascinating, folks.
Yeah, it's a lot of information. I've been trying to ponder it for a long time. I'm like, y'all help me figure this out, because I know that there's some deep truths in this. Just finding out how to pull it all together and get the information out in a way that's going to benefit and make sense.
I mean, I've learned not to summarily reject something just because it may have in the Bible or from the Bible. And listen, I've read the Quran, and that's a mind coitus book if I ever read one.
For sure.
I
I've
don't
only read
get
parts
it.
of it, but yeah, it's intense.
I don't get it. I mean, I've read it, attempted to read it a second time. It doesn't make sense to me. It is so foreign to my reality that I just don't have any understanding of that. So,
Yeah.
Bridget
Like
says,
said, resonance. It does not resonate. It's
exactly.
like there's no resonance there. And I don't think we can attach to the things that we don't resonate to.
And by the way, the Bala Vita, it's the same thing. I mean, I've read the Hindu text, and they're they're difficult too. Yeah, it makes me.
I love how you're pulling out the master teachings of the Far East, because it's so funny. That's so resonated with me. And then you're going to read it. I was like, I love how resonance. It's just all about resonance.
Yeah.
We got to resonate together, because
we've got to.
Yeah, when we do, we are a powerful bubble of thought potential dropping into the matrix and creating and manifesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are.
I guess I just see humankind differently. I don't see us See, I know that we're in these physical bodies, we have flaws. And listen, that
Mhm,
anytime you have an interface from what I call a spiritual to the physical density of matter,
mhm.
that interface can be jacked with.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Oh, I agree.
I get that. And I know that
Mhm.
based upon where you're raised in the world, you have a different perception of things. That's why
Yes.
I don't know, Trina. That's why I love our programs, because we can talk, and probably we'll talk about it next week, because it would tell me that a person who's raised, let's say in Australia,
Mhm,
to a person who's raised in Siberia
mhm.
will be approaching I think the spiritual on two different perceptional planes.
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe that's yeah.
I do
Um,
think that. Like I said, I think it's about the programs, you
yeah,
know, our initial programs are what give us these we get locked into these patterns through these
yeah.
programs, and it is somebody from China and somebody from they're going to have totally different perspectives about spirituality. They're not going to be anything alike.
I met a man recently who was from Cambodia,
Uh-huh.
and we had a delightful discussion. And what I realized was that his perception of the afterlife is totally different from mine. I
Yeah.
mean, and we discussed this. He says, and this is what he told me very kindly. He said, I cannot perceive a world after this how you see it. And he says, we have many gods.
Mhm.
And he says, our gods live and our gods die.
Yeah.
And I went, there may be more truth to this than what I'm picking up on.
That's what I'm starting to look at
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
Wayne. Yeah, I'm thinking that because we live and we die.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. True.
like I said, gods make
Yeah.
gods, cats make
Yeah.
cats, dogs make dogs. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
looking at that real seriously right now. Real serious. It
I
just
tell you,
seemed,
I
yeah,
love this
to make a
consciousness
lot of
thing.
sense. It's kind of like, whoa, but it kind of makes a lot of sense.
It does. It does. I'll tell you, this is why we have to keep our minds open. We can't
Yeah,
become closed-minded.
yeah.
And I love myself now through many of the closed-minded circuits. I'm hearing that girl speaking, there is some, it's one of those things that we'll have to probably have you read again, because there's probably more into that. It's coded. It's what
It
it
is,
is.
it
It's
is.
coded.
I think it
Yeah.
is. Like I said, I
Yeah.
think that we're missing most of what's in this because it is coded.
Yeah.
And you're talking about we need to go through the old O hole in the
Yeah.
3 days of darkness. How the heck did she know that?
That's a Taurus.
Yes,
That's what that is.
yes,
She's describing a
yes.
Taurus.
That's exactly what I saw in my mind when she
Yeah.
was saying it. I'm like, how are you saying this stuff? It was blowing my mind.
Yeah. I could see how a mind would construct a Taurus, a field, an energy field.
And she
Makes
called it
sense.
the O hole. And she said we had to
Makes
go through
sense.
the devolution, the demolition, the destruction. And remember, we're like, yeah, things are going to break down so they can rebuild. This was not a bad thing.
Your
And she,
molecules, your molecular structure is disintegrating.
and that might be what she was describing, but she was like, it's no big deal. Then we get our code of colors. She
That's
was like,
pretty cool shit.
and it was, she was still describing it like we were physical.
This is odd
So,
because
yeah.
now I've had this here on my desk for a week or so, but in one of my astral travels, I came back and I wrote this and I said, um, the construct that we're in is so contrary to everything. If you think, because I'm out there looking for Lucifer, I really am. I think that it doesn't exist as a personification. It's a vibration. But if Lucifer is the light bearer,
Mhm,
and we're told that Lucifer is evil, then what they're saying is that light is evil.
mhm. I could see that. I could see
Wait a
that,
minute.
but I can't
No,
because
I'm really
I can see.
confused.
Okay, because from the darkness, okay,
Mhm.
which from the darkness we know is the first emanation.
Yeah,
Is the nothing. It's the darkness, which is
it's the
all potential.
nothingness.
So from the darkness, births forth its opposite, which would be the light.
Which would be the light.
Yes, because it's all about opposites here. So I can see that from that point. So Lucifer, the light bearer, would be the solar lord.
Scotty boy, we're not saying light is evil. What we're trying to do is to
The
show
opposite of
you
darkness. Yeah.
the construct that we're in. You
Yes.
know, because people fear Lucifer, but Lucifer is the light bearer. So if he's the light bearer, then if he's bringing forth light, how is Lucifer evil?
Yes. And like I
You just
said,
have to go through common sense and go, well, it
yeah.
will
And
say
think
that.
about it, Wayne. We have duality within us. We can be
Mhm.
mean people or we can be nice people. Why would anybody assume that Lucifer would not have the same ability?
Yeah, I mean,
It could be the devil or it could be the angel of light. It can be both. Get ready for that, y'all.
yeah. I mean, you stub your toe in the dark, you wish you had the light.
Right. Right. And like I said, it's about what you think,
Oh.
about what are you manifesting from what position? Is it from a control dominating dark or is it from healing light? You know, what mode are you creating from? Because you can create from light or darkness. You can
Well,
create from
we're
both.
finding that light heals. I mean, you know, light will kill bacteria on the skin. You can
Yes.
take light to remove tattoos. Yeah.
I saw some stuff in Russia years ago that they were literally regenerating body parts with light, sound, and frequency. I
Went
literally
doubt.
saw this years ago. And I mean, I know this technology exists. I know that we can literally manifest new body parts with these three things in the right frequency. I know it. I think we're going to see that in this lifetime.
I think we're going to see a lot.
Yep, I do.
All right. Well, we've gone way over, folks. I apologize for that, but what can we say? When it's flowing, you got to be a going. That's all I got to. No, in fact, I'm going to say if it's flowing, start rowing.
Yes. Be in the flow and do what you know.
Yeah. Come along and do the locomotion. All right, folks. Much love to you, Miss Trina. Take us out. Tell everyone
I
goodbye
love you
for
guys
us.
all. It's so fun having these mind bombs and conundrums with you all. And I love bouncing off all this information I've been sitting on for a long time and I can't make sense out of all of it. I need your help to do that. So thank you for listening and thank you for being here and thank you for helping me discover the mysteries that I so desperately would love to see.
I love it. All right, I'm not going to add anything to it. See y'all tomorrow, and make sure to go over to Miss Trina's channel. Make sure you're subscribed. We love y'all. We'll
Love
see you
you.
tomorrow. Bye now.